Chocolate feels harmless, a small treat, a moment of sweetness. But for seniors, hidden dangers lurk inside that wrapper. From contaminated batches linked to Salmonella outbreaks, to toxic heavy metals quietly accumulating in your body. Today, we expose 9 chocolate brands you should avoid at all costs, and 2 that are actually safe. Coming in at number 9, we have Kinder Chocolate by Ferrero. Parents and grandparents have handed Kinder products to children for decades. The packaging looks wholesome. The commercials show happy families sharing treats together. Ferrero promises quality, joy, and premium European craftsmanship. But what inspectors and health officials actually found tells a very different story. In 2022, Ferrero Canada Lindt issued a massive recall affecting 23 different Kinder products sold nationally. The reason was possible Salmonella contamination traced back to their Belgium production facility. This was not some minor technicality. This outbreak sickened over 150 children across Europe. Belgian health authorities shut down the entire Arlen plant after investigators discovered that Ferrero's internal analysis had detected Salmonella at the facility months earlier, in mid-December 2021. But products continued shipping worldwide. The contamination was traced to a filter at the outlet of 2 raw material tanks. Yet somehow, these tainted products ended up on Canadian store shelves, in Easter baskets, in Christmas stockings, in the hands of unsuspecting grandparents trying to bring a little sweetness to their grandchildren. For seniors, Salmonella is not just a stomach ache. It is a potentially life-threatening infection. The elderly and people with weakened immune systems may contract serious and sometimes deadly infections. Symptoms include fever, headache, vomiting, nausea, abdominal cramps, and severe diarrhea. For someone on blood pressure medication, for someone with kidney issues, for someone whose immune system is already compromised by age or illness, this can quickly escalate into hospitalization or worse. Long-term complications may include severe arthritis. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency confirmed the recall, but noted that no illnesses had been reported in Canada at the time. But how many people ate those products before the recall was announced? Ferrero knew about contamination in December. The recall did not hit Canadian shelves until April. That is 4 months of potentially contaminated chocolate circulating through our grocery stores. At number 8, we have Nestle chocolate products. Nestle is everywhere. Kit Kat, Aero, Smarties, Coffee Crisp. Walk down any Canadian grocery aisle and you will see that familiar red logo staring back at you. Nestle markets itself as a company you can trust, a household name for generations. But beneath that carefully crafted image lies a history of controversies that should give every health-conscious Canadian pause. Let us start with what is actually in your chocolate. In recent years, Nestle has been at the center of the shrinkflation scandal. You pay the same price, but you get less chocolate. The bar looks the same. The wrapper looks the same. But when you bite into it, something feels off. That is because it is off. Companies like Nestle have been quietly reducing product sizes while keeping prices identical or even raising them. But it gets worse. There is a disturbing trend happening in the chocolate industry that most consumers have not noticed. Some Nestle products have quietly changed their labels from chocolate to chocolate-flavored coating. Why? Because under Canadian regulations, to legally call something chocolate, it must contain specific minimum amounts of cocoa butter and cocoa powder, and no vegetable oils. When companies swap out real cocoa butter for cheaper palm oil and vegetable fats, they can no longer call it chocolate. This is a fundamental change in what you are putting into your body. Palm oil does not have the same nutritional profile as cocoa butter. For seniors managing cholesterol or watching their heart health, this stealth ingredient swap matters. You think you are eating the same chocolate you have enjoyed for decades. You are not. Then there is the palm oil controversy itself. Nestle has been repeatedly criticized by environmental and human rights organizations for sourcing palm oil linked to rainforest destruction, exploitation of indigenous communities, and child labor. In 2018, Nestle was actually suspended from the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil for failing to meet certification requirements. The company that promises ethical sourcing could not even maintain its membership in the industry's own sustainability group. And the heavy metals issue cannot be ignored. Studies have found concerning levels of lead in various hot cocoa products. Nestle Hot Cocoa Mix has been flagged at 108% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead. For seniors, lead exposure is not something to dismiss. Frequent exposure to lead in adults can damage the kidneys and cause problems with blood pressure. If you are already on medication for hypertension or kidney function, adding lead exposure on top of that is the last thing your body needs. Now at number 7, we have Cadbury chocolate. Cadbury was once synonymous with quality, that distinctive purple wrapper, that creamy, melt-in-your-mouth texture. For generations of Canadians, Cadbury meant something. It meant indulgence done right. It meant a treat you could trust. Then Mondelez International took over, and everything changed. Consumer reviews tell the story better than any corporate press release. Phrases like plasticky, chemical-filled, the flavor is so different from what it used to be, and it just tastes cheap, now appear over and over in customer feedback. One reviewer summed it up perfectly. Once a national treasure, now a corporate chew toy. What happened? Corporate cost-cutting happened. Under Mondelez, ownership, production has shifted, recipes have changed, and the chocolate that generations grew up loving has been slowly hollowed out from the inside. The wrapper still looks the same. The name still reads Cadbury, but the experience, the texture, the taste, all of it has degraded. For seniors, this is not just about nostalgia. This is about trust. You reach for Cadbury because you remember what it used to be. You assume it still is what it was. But you are paying premium prices for a product that reviewers describe as bland, greasy, and tasting of cheap oils. And like other major chocolate manufacturers, Cadbury's parent company Mondelez has faced scrutiny over child labor in their cocoa supply chains. According to estimates, there are approximately 1.56 million children working on cocoa farms in Ivory Coast and Ghana, the two countries that supply roughly 2/3 of the world's cocoa. Mondelez sources cocoa from these regions. The chocolate industry has made promise after promise to address this issue since 2001. Those promises remain largely unfulfilled. Most people never learn how to protect themselves from these hidden dangers. But we will break it down at the very end of the video. Keep watching, because what comes next might be sitting in your pantry right now. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés. Sitting at number 6, we have Hershey chocolate products. Hershey is an American icon that has deep roots in the Canadian market. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Hershey's Kisses, O. Henry Bars. These are products Canadians have grown up with. Products we associate with Halloween treats, movie nights, and simple pleasures. But Hershey has been hiding some very uncomfortable truths behind those familiar wrappers. Let us start with the child labor issue, because it cannot be overstated. In 2019, a Canadian law firm brought a class action lawsuit against Hershey Company, alleging that the company sources much of its cocoa from the Ivory Coast, where it is well documented that cocoa production uses slave labor, child slaves, and trafficked children. The lawsuit alleged that Hershey encourages and benefits from these practices, and that Canadian consumers would not buy Hershey products if they were aware of the conditions in which they are produced. In 2024, another lawsuit was filed against both Hershey and Rainforest Alliance, accusing them of false and deceptive claims about child labor, labor practices, and deforestation. The Rainforest Alliance certification, that little frog logo you see on packaging, was supposed to signal ethical sourcing. But the lawsuit alleges that certifiers like Rainforest Alliance are giving consumers a false notion that their eco-labels guarantee that no child labor was used. When asked point-blank whether their chocolates were produced without child labor, representatives of Hershey could not guarantee it. Any executive at one of the large chocolate companies admitted, "I am not going to make those claims." The reason? Hershey can trace less than half of its cocoa back to farms. They literally do not know where most of their cocoa comes from. But the ethical concerns are just part of the picture. There are also the heavy metals. Consumer Reports tested 28 dark chocolate bars and found cadmium and lead in all of them. For 23 of the bars tested, eating just an ounce a day would put an adult over a level that public health authorities say may be harmful. Hershey's cocoa powder has been flagged at 125% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead. For seniors, this is not abstract. Lead and cadmium accumulate in your body over time. They do not just pass through. If you have been enjoying Hershey's products regularly, those heavy metals have been quietly building up. Lead damages kidneys. Cadmium affects bone density. Number 5 brings us to Lindt chocolate. Lindt positions itself as premium chocolate. The gold foil wrapper, the Swiss heritage, the smooth, silky texture. Everything about Lindt's branding screams quality and sophistication. You pay more because you expect to get more. But recent revelations should make every health-conscious consumer think twice before reaching for those Lindt truffles. Lindt has been named in lawsuits accusing the company of false advertising and misleading consumers about the quality of its chocolate. Why? Heavy metals. Testing has found that many Lindt products contain levels of lead and cadmium above California's maximum allowable dose levels. Lindt's 70% cacao bar falls in the high in cadmium category. Their 85% cacao bar falls into the high in lead category. Think about what this means. You pay premium prices expecting premium quality. You choose dark chocolate because you have heard it is healthier, that it contains antioxidants, that it is better for your heart. But along with those antioxidants, you are getting concerning levels of toxic metals. For seniors managing chronic health conditions, this is not a minor concern. Frequent lead exposure can damage kidneys and cause problems with blood pressure. Cadmium affects calcium metabolism and bone health. You cannot taste lead. You cannot smell cadmium. The chocolate melts just as smoothly whether it is contaminated or not. The marketing suggests superior quality, but that does not necessarily reflect the safety of their products. Premium branding is not the same as premium safety standards. You cannot taste lead. You cannot smell cadmium. The chocolate melts just as smoothly whether it is contaminated or not. That is what makes this so insidious. And here is what really stings. In 2018, a first-of-its-kind settlement was reached with 31 chocolate companies, including Lindt. These companies committed to funding an independent expert committee to investigate the sources of lead and cadmium in chocolate and find feasible measures to lower levels. Years later, the problem persists. Coming in at number 4, we have Mars chocolate products. Mars is another global giant with a massive footprint in Canadian stores. M&M's, Snickers, Mars bars, Twix, Milky Way. These are some of the most recognizable candy brands in the world. And like the other major players, Mars has been caught in the web of promises made and promises broken. On the child labor front, Mars is right there with Hershey and Nestle. In 2001, the heads of Mars, Hershey, Nestle, and other companies signed a deal called the Harkin-Engel Protocol, pledging to end the worst forms of child labor in their cocoa suppliers within 4 years. That deadline came and went. Then it was extended. Then extended again. More than 2 decades later, the problem persists. Mars can trace only 24% of its cocoa back to farms. That means for 76% of the cocoa in Mars products, the company has no idea whether it was harvested by children, by forced labor, by workers being exploited in conditions most Canadians would find unconscionable. But there is more to worry about than the ethical sourcing issues. Mars products are loaded with sugar, artificial ingredients, and additives that can wreak havoc on senior health. A single Snickers bar contains around 27 grams of sugar. The daily recommended limit for women is 25 grams total. One candy bar exceeds an entire day's worth of sugar. For seniors managing diabetes, pre-diabetes, or blood sugar issues, this matters enormously. For anyone watching their weight, monitoring their cardiovascular health, or trying to reduce inflammation, the sugar bomb hidden inside these familiar wrappers is a serious concern. And shrinkflation has hit Mars products hard. Remember when Snickers bars felt substantial? When a Mars bar was actually a full-size treat? Those days are gone. You are paying more for less, and what you are getting is mostly sugar, corn syrup, and questionable cocoa from untraceable sources. Do not go anywhere. The solution is coming at the very end, and it could change how you shop for chocolate forever. But first, we need to expose the brands that might surprise you the most. At number 3, we have great value and store brand chocolates. You might think store brands are a smart way to save money. Same ingredients, lower price, right? That is what the marketing wants you to believe. But when it comes to chocolate, especially store brand chocolate, you might be getting far more than you bargained for. Walmart Canada's great value chocolate products have been included in recalls due to possible Salmonella contamination. But here is the statistic that should stop every Canadian senior in their tracks. Great value hot cocoa mix has been tested at a staggering 345% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead. That is not a typo. More than 3 times the safe limit. 3 times what regulators have determined is safe for human consumption. Picture this. You are making a warm cup of hot cocoa on a cold Canadian Canadian winter evening. The steam rises. The chocolate smell fills your kitchen. It seems comforting. It seems harmless. But with every sip, you could be ingesting lead at levels that accumulate in your organs over time. Your kidneys, your bones, your brain. Lead does not announce itself. It does not taste like metal. It just quietly builds up, contributing to cognitive decline, kidney damage, and cardiovascular problems that seniors are already at elevated risk for. Store-brand chocolates often source their cocoa from the same suppliers as the major brands, meaning the same heavy metal contamination issues, the same ethical sourcing concerns, the same quality control problems. But because store brands operate on razor-thin margins, there is often less quality testing, less oversight, and less accountability. Costco's Kirkland signature chocolate products have also been flagged in recalls. No Frills, Food Basics, and other discount grocers private label chocolate face the same fundamental problem. They compete on price, not safety. When you shave pennies off every bar, something has to give. Usually it is testing. Usually it is sourcing standards. Usually it is quality control. When you buy Great Value or No Frills brand chocolate, you are essentially buying a mystery. You do not know which facility produced it. You do not know what testing was done. Is saving $2 worth potentially compromising your kidney function? Number 2 is Peace by Chocolate and pistachio-related products. This one might surprise you because Peace by Chocolate has built its brand on a heartwarming story. Syrian refugees starting fresh in Canada, building a chocolate business, creating jobs, spreading sweetness and hope. It is the kind of story Canadians love to support. But in January 2025, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency added several Peace by Chocolate products to an ongoing recall of pistachios possibly contaminated with Salmonella. The latest recall includes Peace by Chocolate bars and assorted chocolates sold across Canada. They may have been sold individually or as part of a variety pack. The affected products include Dubai-style chocolate pistachio and kunafa bar, the Peacemaker specialty bars, Trans-Canada Trail Peace Seeker, the classic box, the Proudly Canadian box, and assorted filled chocolates. Some products appear to be custom labeled for companies, meaning they were given as corporate gifts, spreading potential contamination through office buildings and events. This is part of a larger pistachio-related Salmonella outbreak that has hospitalized 9 Canadians. Food contaminated with Salmonella may not look or smell spoiled, but can still make you ill. Seniors are especially at risk of serious illness from Salmonella infections. The betrayal here is not intentional malice. Peace by Chocolate likely had no idea their pistachio supplier was contaminated. But that is precisely the problem. Small artisanal producers, no matter how well-intentioned, often lack the resources for rigorous testing of every ingredient. They trust their suppliers, and when those suppliers fail, the contamination flows downstream to your kitchen. And at number 1, we have Dubai-style chocolates and viral TikTok chocolate products. Finally, the most dangerous trend of all. These viral sensation chocolates have exploded in popularity, driven by social media influencers and TikTok videos showing elaborate chocolate bars filled with pistachios, kunafa pastry, and other premium-looking ingredients. They look stunning. The ASMR cracking sounds, the close-up shots of pistachio cream oozing out, the golden flakes of pastry inside glossy chocolate. The videos are irresistible, and seniors with grandchildren have been buying them as trendy gifts, eager to share in what looks like a delicious and harmless indulgence. But these products have become ground zero for a major Salmonella outbreak that has hospitalized Canadians across the country. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has issued multiple recalls for various brands of pistachio and Nafa milk chocolate. Brands like Oasis Treasures, 8 Cakes, Sweet Fix, and numerous others have been pulled from shelves after testing found Salmonella contamination. This was not a precautionary measure. This was triggered by test results during an investigation into a foodborne illness outbreak. Real people got sick. Real Canadians ended up in hospitals. The Public Health Agency of Canada has confirmed this is an active outbreak investigation. 9 Canadians have been hospitalized, and those are just the confirmed cases. How many mild cases went unreported? How many people assume their stomach troubles were just a bug going around? These chocolates often come from small producers with limited quality control infrastructure. The viral demand has outpaced the industry's ability to safely produce these products. When a TikTok video gets millions of views, manufacturers scramble to meet demand. Quality testing takes time. Viral trends do not wait. For seniors, the risks are severe. Salmonella infection symptoms can include diarrhea, abdominal cramps, and fever within 12 to 72 hours after eating contaminated food. For healthy adults, the illness typically lasts 4 to 7 days. But in some cases, the diarrhea may be so severe that patients require hospitalization. Older adults, children, pregnant women, and people with weakened immune systems are more likely to develop a severe illness and serious, sometimes life-threatening conditions. Long-term complications can include severe arthritis that persists long after the initial infection clears. And here is what makes this particularly insidious. These products are marketed as premium, artisanal, special occasion treats. You pay more because you think you are getting quality, the gold foil wrapping, the elegant boxes, the exotic Dubai styling. Everything about the presentation screams luxury and sophistication. But what you might actually be getting is contamination from suppliers who cannot keep pace with viral demand. The safe options. After all of that, you are probably wondering, is there any chocolate that is actually safe? The answer is yes. But you have to know where to look, and you have to be willing to step outside the familiar grocery store aisles, where the big brands dominate shelf space with their slick packaging and empty promises. The good news is that right here in Canada, there are chocolate makers doing things the right way. They prioritize transparency over marketing budgets. They prioritize quality over quarterly profits. They prioritize your health over their bottom line. Safe option 1, Chocosol Traders from Toronto, Ontario. Chocosol is a bean-to-bar chocolate maker that does everything differently. Since the beginning, they have been working directly with farmers and cooperatives, putting money into the hands of community members and cutting out the exploitative middlemen that plague the major brands. This is not just corporate language on a website. They actually name their sourcing partners. They actually show you where the cacao comes from. All of their products are made in Toronto from scratch using only simple, whole food ingredients. Their chocolate is free of nuts, dairy, soy, gluten, and preservatives. They use sustainable packaging, support local farmers, and maintain cradle-to-cradle production practices. You can visit their boutique on St. Clair in the Regal Heights neighborhood and watch them turn cacao beans into finished chocolate. For seniors with allergies, dietary restrictions, or concerns about additives, Chocosol offers peace of mind. You know exactly where the chocolate comes from. You know how it is made. You know what is in it. There are no mysterious ingredients, no untraceable cocoa sources, no corporate shell games hiding behind layers of subsidiaries and suppliers. Their signature chocolate blend is 70% cacao, providing the antioxidant benefits of dark chocolate without the excessive sugar of commercial brands. And because they control their entire supply chain from bean to bar, they can ensure quality at every step. No contaminated filters at overseas facilities. No untested ingredients from unknown suppliers. No ethical compromises hidden behind certification schemes that nobody enforces. Safe option 2. Zimt, artisan chocolates from Vancouver, British Columbia. Zimt specializes in organic vegan chocolate products, handcrafted right here in Canada. All of their chocolate is Fair for Life certified, with cacao sourced from an organization called OCE that works directly with cacao producers in Peru. This is not Rainforest Alliance certification that gets rubber stamped on products from untraceable supply chains. This is genuine direct trade with actual farmers, whose names and communities you can look up. Their products are organic, vegan, gluten-free, and palm oil free. For seniors concerned about the environmental destruction linked to palm oil production, this matters. For seniors trying to avoid allergens and unnecessary additives, this matters. For seniors who want to know that their chocolate purchase is not contributing to child labor in West Africa, this matters. Zimt has even opened their own chocolate factory with a cafe, giving Canadians a chance to see exactly how their chocolate is made. Transparency is not just a marketing buzzword, it is a business practice. 1% of all sales go to charity, including animal sanctuaries. Both Chocosol and Zimt prove that safe, ethical, delicious chocolate exists in Canada. You just have to look beyond the familiar brands that have been cutting corners and breaking promises for decades. Yes, you might pay a little more. Yes, you might have to seek them out rather than grabbing whatever is on the grocery store shelf. But your health, your values, and your peace of mind are worth it. Not all. Chocolate is created equal. Some can put your health at serious risk, while others are made with genuine care and transparency. Now you know the difference. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again. Why do you think the CFIA lets brands use ingredients banned in other countries? Do you think the government protects consumers or the food industry? Drop your thoughts below.